Man City survived a scare, beating Fulham 5-4. Tottenham came back late to draw 2-2 with Newcastle. Villa won in a 7-game thriller. Liverpool managed to scrape a draw against Sunderland, and a rotated Chelsea lost 3-1 to Leeds. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for the Week 15 Premier League predictions. Here is the comment of the week. Massive shout out to you. I really do appreciate the support. We are closing in on 48,000 subscribers, and remember, when we get to 50,000, I will be introducing Europa League prediction videos to the channel as well. Remember, if you are part of the Patreon for the month of December, you will be entered into a draw to potentially win $100. So please do click the top link in the description, and flashing up on the screen is everyone that is supporting me currently over on Patreon. So if you want that shout out in every single video, access to exclusive members tips and accumulators, as well as direct messaging access to me and the group chats over there on Patreon, and of course the chance to win $100, then click that top link in the description. I really cannot thank you enough for the support, all the lovely comments on the recent videos this week saying that you hope I recover quickly and that I get better. I'm almost there, still a bit under the weather, but very nearly there, and hopefully by tomorrow's live stream I will be back to full fitness. So I never set a like goal, but let's see if we can reach 1,000 likes on this video. Subscribe down below, and we've got a lot of Premier League action to discuss. The first game is Aston Villa up against Arsenal. Now I just want to caveat this video by saying we obviously don't know what's happened at Old Trafford. Man United play West Ham in a couple of hours. I think they should win that fairly comfortably, but Aston Villa up against Arsenal, the game of the week. Now, how do I see this game going? All you know right now is that I see BTTS and over 2.5 goals, but I have alluded to the fact that Arsenal are in a little bit of an injury crisis. Up until this point in the season, we've dealt with it very, very well, and you know, we beat Brentford, we managed to get the draw against Chelsea, even though we're against 10 men, we beat Bayern, we beat Tottenham, all of that stuff, but it's starting to pile up, and without Rice potentially, it doesn't look as good. Now, it has to be said, Arsenal have a very good record against most teams. You look at the Big Six and that record where Arsenal basically weren't losing any games against the Big Six until that 1-0 loss to Liverpool way back in August. But Aston Villa, however, have a bit of a better record against Arsenal. The last 4 meetings has seen 1 Arsenal win, 1 draw, and 2 Aston Villa wins, including, of course, the Villa win from a couple of years ago that essentially meant we didn't win the title that year. And I just think against Unai Emery at Villa Park with the absentees, Arsenal are going to slip up here. So for the first time this season, I am predicting Arsenal to lose. Don't get me wrong, if both teams were at full strength, I'd go for an Arsenal win. I don't think there is a fixture that I'd predict Arsenal to lose if Arsenal were at full strength. I'm thinking of even Bayern away, PSG away, Real Madrid away. I'd say we'd get at least a point if we were full strength. I don't think there's anyone that would beat us in my pre-match predictions if we were at full strength, but we're not here. So I'm going to say that Aston Villa win 2-1. And I thought about maybe both teams to score as a tip, but I'm going to go for Aston Villa double chance at 1.9. I just think Arsenal going away to Villa Park and getting a win is quite unlikely. More unlikely than the odds suggest anyway. The odds put it about 50-50. I give Arsenal maybe like a 30-40% chance to win. So I think because of that discrepancy, I'll say Aston Villa double chance as the tip. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But you've got to go for upsets. We've done it recently in the past and predicted correctly. So I've got to predict Arsenal to lose at some point, and I think away at Villa Park with the injury problems we have, I think today is the day I'm going to do it. We'll be watching it over on Big Up, so make sure you check that out. We move on now to the Vitality Stadium for Bournemouth up against Chelsea. Bournemouth lost out to Everton, a late-ish goal by Jack Grealish. Like I said, there's always a winner in that fixture, never ends in a draw. And Chelsea, as soon as Maresca picked the lineup he did against Leeds, I was like, yep, Leeds are going to win. Obviously, I predicted Chelsea would beat Leeds, but I didn't think they would rotate their squad so heavily. I think they were very naive going into that game as if it was a gimme, a free 3 points, but there's no such thing as a free 3 points in the Premier League unless you're playing Wolverhampton Wanderers. But as soon as I saw that lineup, I knew Leeds would win, and they just played so well. Battered Chelsea. Chelsea deservedly walked away with nothing. I think here the players that were rested will get back to the starting 11, and Bournemouth, they've only picked up 1 point in their last 5. They're decent at home, having only lost that 1 game this season against Everton recently, but I think this has come at a bad time for Bournemouth, so I think Chelsea will just scrape it. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. However, the tip is going to be over 2.5 goals at odds of 1.61. After this, we travel to the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Finally, I'm not calling it Goodison Park like I did in the previous video before I corrected myself. It's Everton up against Nottingham Forest. Now, Everton got a 1-0 win away against Bournemouth, and Nottingham Forest, it was our perfect score prediction of the last game week, a 1-0 away win at Molineux against Wolves. Nottingham Forest, they've had a great resurgence under Sean Dyche. I don't think many people are thinking that they're going to get relegated anymore. But I just think away at the Hill Dickinson is going to be a step too far, and Everton need to string some wins together, beating Bournemouth and then beating Forest here, because we can't forget, not so long ago, they got destroyed by Newcastle at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, kind of putting a big blemish on their home record, and I think it's time they go back to winning again. I'm going to say that Everton actually win 2-0, and the tip is going to be Everton to win at odds of 2.15. Now, after this, we have one of the most exciting potential fixtures of the game week. I've got it as the highest scoring as well. It's Manchester City up against Sunderland. Sunderland got a point against Liverpool 1-1, but it looked like at the very end they were going to get a counter-attacking winner in stoppage time, but Chiesa cleared it off the line, tracking back really well, and Liverpool just weren't very good. Sunderland looked decent, and they got a point at Anfield. But honestly, everyone's getting points at Anfield. Manchester City, however, they were 5-1 up and could have drawn the game. Ended 5-4. It was incredible, and just what a fun game to watch. That's one thing I like about Man City recently, is that they are fun to watch. A few years ago, they seemed very mechanical, methodical, and it was a little bit dull to watch. Sort of how people have been treating Arsenal this season. They think it's not as exciting to watch Arsenal because of how essentially perfect they've been. But this Man City team is exciting, it's high scoring, it's reckless, and I've actually taken a couple of goals off my initial score prediction. I initially wrote down Man City 5, Sunderland 3. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. I'm going to say Man City do win this one 4-2. But just like we tipped last week at odds of 3.2, I'm going to tip it again at slightly less odds. Manchester City and both teams to score at odds of 2.75. You've got to expect Sunderland to score, but I don't think Sunderland are going to provide another upset. They've already taken points off of Liverpool and Arsenal in a draw. They've taken points off of Chelsea with a win. Surely they don't get my top 4 predicted and take points from all of them. Because obviously I predicted Arsenal to win the league. I did predict Liverpool 2nd, Man City 3rd, Chelsea 4th. Surely Sunderland, newly promoted, don't go and take points from every team I predicted to finish in the top 4. I don't see it, at least not at the Etihad. I'm going to say Manchester City win 4-2. After this, we travel to St James's Park. I think this is probably the easiest fixture of the week to predict. It's Newcastle up against Burnley. Last game week, Burnley did lose to Crystal Palace. I predicted 2-0. It was 1-0. And Newcastle, I predicted a 2-0 win against Tottenham. They took the lead twice, and then you've got to ask questions of Aaron Ramsdale in net for that overhead shin from Porro in the 95th minute. It trickles in. It ends 2-2. I think Newcastle will bounce back here and batter Burnley. I'm going to say that Newcastle will win 3-0, and the tip is Newcastle -1 handicap at odds of 1.8. Coming up after this, we have Tottenham up against Brentford. Thomas Frank facing his former club, and this one, I've got a little bit of a gut feeling. Tottenham, they've been absolutely awful, and I just think they really need to pull it back and start getting some points on the board, especially at home. Because not only for Chelsea, it seems all teams are going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as 3-point lane and think they can get a win. And this one, I've got a little bit of a gut feeling. I haven't predicted Tottenham to win a game since the Champions League video before the last one, where I said they beat Copenhagen, and they did. I've since predicted them to lose to Fulham. We got that right, 2-1. I predicted them to lose to Newcastle. They did get a point, but I predicted them to lose to Arsenal. I predicted them to lose to PSG. I predicted them to draw against Man United. I haven't predicted Spurs to win for a month now. And I tell you what, I'm going to go against the grain. I'm actually going to predict a Spurs win. I think it's about time they get a win at home. I'm going to say Tottenham win 2-1. And the tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.61. But yeah, it's the 4th of December today. And the last time I predicted Tottenham to win and the last time they got a win was on the 4th of November. So it's been a month. I think it's about time Tottenham finally get a win. It's just a gut feeling because really, Brentford could absolutely go here, turn them over and win. But Tottenham have a decent recent record against Brentford. They haven't won in ages. And I think they're finally going to get the job done here at home against Brentford. After this, we travel back to Elland Road for Leeds up against Liverpool. And what a week this could be if Leeds could beat Chelsea and then Liverpool. However, I just don't see it happening. Liverpool, they're so difficult to predict. I predicted a 2-1 win against Sunderland. And, you know, on another day, maybe that could have happened. But Where do you go from here? Leeds made some good changes and they took advantage of Chelsea's weakened lineup and their weird approach to the game. But I just think that makes this harder for them to win because Liverpool will not think this is a free 3 points. They won't think it's a gimme. They already dropped points against Sunderland as well, as far as they're concerned, because it's at Anfield and they should win most games at Anfield. But Liverpool should win this one. And I think that is just going to carry them over the line. So I am tentatively going to say that Liverpool win 2-1, but the tip is going to be over 2.5 goals at odds of 1.66. Leeds maybe get something, but I'm just going to show you to Liverpool, who really, really need a result. They really need 3 points. After this, we travel to the Amex Stadium for Brighton up against West Ham. Brighton 2-0 up against Aston Villa, losing 4-3. That is poor. That is a poor result. When you're in that position, you've got to drive the dagger in, get the 3 points, get something. You can't just lose like that. West Ham, who knows, maybe a miracle tonight and they beat Man United. I expect they will lose, and I think they will lose here as well. I think Brighton are going to win handsomely. I'll go 3-1 to Brighton. The tip is Brighton to win at odds of 1.55. After this, we travel to Craven Cottage for Fulham up against Crystal Palace. Now, we had a good week with these two teams. I predicted Man City would beat Fulham and concede, not as many as they did. And I predicted that Palace would beat Burnley with a clean sheet in a low-scoring game. I think these two teams at the moment are on about the same level. I know the league table perhaps suggests otherwise, but I think Fulham were underperforming their capabilities earlier on in the season. They are starting to climb the table, string some results together. Palace, a little bit strained with the increase in fixtures with the likes of the Conference League. They're still in the Cup, and I think that is catching up with them a bit. Ultimately, I think Fulham and Palace are similar. Palace may be fully rested, full strength, are better than Fulham, but that's not the Palace that we see in this game. They're fatigued, and I think away from home at Craven Cottage, they're not going to be able to get a win. I think Fulham, rightfully so, are slight favourites, but I'm going to sit on the fence and say that it'll be a 1-1 draw. I think this is the perfect 1-1 game, and that's why it lends itself well to this tip, which is the highest odds tip of the video. It is the full 90 classic of both teams to score and under 3.5 goals at odds of 3, because I definitely think it could be 2-1, genuinely either way, but I don't think it'll be a goal fest. Palace games don't tend to be. I'm going to say 1-1. And finally, we travel back to Molineux for Wolves up against Manchester United. Wolves still haven't scored a goal since October, failing to do so against a lacklustre Nottingham Forest, it has to be said. Again, we don't know the United result. I expect they beat West Ham, and I expect they beat Wolves here. I'm going to go for Manchester United to win 1-0, and I'm going for the same tip as I am for the West Ham game tonight, so you could double them up if you're watching this in time. Manchester United to win and under 4.5 goals. The odds are 2.1, which means Man United would have won 3 games in a row, and all of a sudden, the United Strand haircut conversations start again. It's like an infinite content glitch at this point. Will Man United get 5 wins in a row? Who knows? But I do think they'll beat West Ham tonight. I think they'll beat Wolves as well next week on the Monday, and they'll be climbing the table. So that is going to do it for my Premier League Week 15 predictions. Please do, as you have been, drop a like, hype the video down below, leave your predictions in the comments. Make sure you check out the Patreon to get involved with everything over there, including, of course, the chance to win $100. And be sure to go and follow me over on bigup.com/thefull90. We have over 300 members now, and like I said, you won't find better odds anywhere for Aston Villa Arsenal this weekend. Get over there, make your picks, watch the game with me. I can't wait to see you there. That is going to do it from me, and I'll see you in the next video, which will be the live stream tomorrow, going over all the weekend fixtures. So I'll see you very soon.